Hi everyone, I'm Chrissy and this is Andrew, Daniel, and Vale next to me. So traditional education is not going away. Students and their families alike still believe that the traditional bachelor's degree is critical to professional success in America. But we're seeing within education, many of you have completed bachelor's degrees at the traditional brick and mortar education, and we find a few main problems with traditional education. So primarily that majors live within these super siloed hubs that are departments. So the computer science degree is in the engineering department, business is business, English is English. And so you get some limited field of offerings in terms of study there as well. And a lot of times you see students graduating with the feeling that they don't have that kind of real world experience, graduating with something that is a transcript instead of a list of projects they've completed or a portfolio. So we've found that these problems tend to hit the misfit student the hardest. So that student that's interested in a super broad range of classes, so anthropology, sociology, technology, business, and most notably the STEM major, whose curriculum lives primarily in a very, very isolated department that is the STEM department. And we've also found that STEM degrees are on the rise. So looking at this chart here, you see in this top category, a lot of like exercise science, nursing, health, medical, computer science on the rise, while a lot of the more nebulous, broad degrees like liberal arts, sociology are on the decline. So obviously that comes from students feeling more of a need to get the higher ROI on their degrees. So really, I mean, we as a society used to embrace more of this polymath, this dilettante, this multiply interested student, but now we're finding ourselves in the age of the specialist. So students are pressured to declare majors within their siloed departments, and what we're finding is that there are fewer interdisciplinary opportunities for super creative learning and innovative learning. But we find that online education can start to fill these holes a little bit. So when you look at studies of why students are taking online courses, it's primarily to do some personal growth, especially between the ages of 18 and 24 when students are in their traditional undergraduate years. So for Miami Ed School's online rollout, we wanted to target what we're calling the Renaissance STEM misfits. So this is the person that is, for whatever reason, pressure, personal interest, getting that ROI on their degree, pursuing a STEM major. So let's say an engineering degree. We find that they're feeling really stifled. So the traditional university structure of their department is preventing them from dabbling in their interests, from taking classes in other departments. And our target feels like they're missing out. They talk to their friends that are taking liberal arts classes or moving between departments, and they don't feel like they're really getting as much out of their educational experience as they possibly can. And with this comes a little bit of loss of zest for life. So a lack of connection to pride and self-esteem that comes from being as multiply interested as they possibly can. So we coming to our insight. So we as a society used to embrace the polymath, but now we live in the era of the specialist student and the specialist professional. And while schools groom specialists, we find that generalists with broad experiences typically make up the best, most diverse creative teams. And we're running on the strategy. So Miami Ad School would like to ultimately create a brick and mortar user experience degree down the line. So in order to kind of pull out some people that have technical backgrounds, Miami Ad School is positioned as the left brain partner to your traditional right brain STEM education. So moving on to some creative.
So, um, when we're bored, we tend to doodle, like in the back of a notebook while taking notes, and that's a pattern that people take. The doodle says something. When you're in class and you start doing something else, it's because you're not enjoying what you do. And here at Mass, we have a lot of students that have been pilots in the past or even like science, so which is what we're focusing on. The problem is that people tend to underestimate their ideas. So you never know where doodles can take you. It can go from like a little scribble to becoming a large worldwide known logo. So we want to speak to them in this way. Um,
So we want to have creative billboards and encourage people to explore that creative side when they are waiting for something when they're bored. So this would be an example, for example, at a bus station when you're waiting for something, and we would have the billboard, and it would be an actual huge piece of paper, and you can grab a pen, if you have a marker, and you can just doodle while you wait, and free to explore your creative side. And this would like eventually what everyone would do as they doodle while different people wait for the bus. And we also wanted to, like we were saying, targeting students. So we would like to attend schools and put little flamingos to advertise Miami at school. This is also another example.
And we mocked up the website. But before we move on to that boomerang video that we had in the beginning, we were like running through our presentation and we saw that out like near the elevators, and we're like, that's like a physical insight, not like a mental insight. It's like actually, it's like a part of the school already. It's like back of the notebook concept. And so here's the website. I'm gonna go through. We just like quickly mocked it up. And so we have like the colors, the normal stuff you'd expect on the top, and the ad school thing. And then we have the testimonials of students who have gone through the program before. Welcome to our school. And then of course we recognize this as like the heroes and that sort of thing. And just little bios. I pulled this from Facebook. As we go down, we were wondering like how can we oh my gosh, how do we immerse these students deeper into this program, into this ad world? Well, we make it freemium, and it is run by ads. You have to see ads. All of this is free, but there's ads. So we have the copywriting class, intro to photography. Oh my, this is so embarrassing. But get a job, and events, online events, and oh my, just don't stop. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, wait. Oh, there it is. Okay, great job. And so I'll give you some presentation tips, but I loved how you unlocked a sort of cultural sort of tension that you want Miami Ad School to sort of get ahead of addressing with that whole idea of this, the way we've shifted as a society, right? That's a big thought, and I think you articulated it really well. And I always love when you can ground a strategy in that. And I thought you really did a good job of also describing this target, this Renaissance STEM misfit, sort of really helping to embrace and describe the fact that they do have varied interests, but like this world now has sort of siphoned them into a tunnel almost. So all I'll ask from you is really, one thing, just a presentation. You go to background before stating the goal. You go right into background, and I'm like, wait, why are we here? Like, I know why we're here, but imagine a presentation. Just make sure you just to say why we're here. Let's see. Oh, in some of just, again, this is also a presentation style as much as it's a content class, right? So when you go to your first slides where you talk about has its flaws but here to stay, it wasn't clear that those were the flaws, and those were good flaws, right? And so there could be something about, you could even be setting up that the issue is traditional college is the mainstay, as much as e-learning is the like popular, cheerleader, traditional college is the whole, school, whatever it is. I don't know, what bad analogy. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you could have some setup about it's the big thing, but it's got its flaws. Like, it's just a pacing thing so that we understand and you get credit for this being some dissection of the issues with what people are experiencing. Because, right, you're trying to get at what's the impact of the alternative, right, to e-learning. And this point is just way too small and it's a big point. You're setting up your story with this bottom thought here that they tend to hit the misfit the hardest. There's an opportunity for a visual. There's an opportunity even probably for some video. I don't know. I'm sure it's like, if it's true, it's probably got to be on YouTube, right? Something about the misfit or this feeling of isolated departments. But maybe you could save that as you build. But I'm just saying, like, this is a big point. Move it so it makes a bigger splat impact. If you keep going, again, a headline, okay, and background. You don't need that anymore. Like, there's one slide you have on background. That's enough for a pitch presentation. Then you had on four, this was great. This to me is not background. That's this is like, so you had an opportunity. Yeah, I had slide 4 is like change the heading to opportunity because that's an opportunity. That online education can fill. The core, the number 3 is kind of like there's a core tension or core problem in society, like in our, the way our world is shaping, is hurting our best and brightest. You know what I mean? Like, that is what you're getting at kind of with that thought. And then that's it, but it's all there. And that's great work unlocking that to lead to an insight. Can you go to your insight? No, back, yeah. Okay, so you don't need to restate you always want to try to strive for one thought for the insight as much as you do for the strategy. It's just the way people are going to evaluate your portfolios. And you want it to be from the audience's point of view. This is an observation that you also are adding to what's wrong with the current landscape. Then flip it and understand what that means to like, how do they feel? What I got a sense of, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I got a sense from you, from talking, is that they might feel like they got like sucked into a vortex without, with blinders, right? And they can't get out, even though there's something else brewing. So find the way to articulate that feeling that they have to get to your strategy. What's your strategy? The left brain partner to your traditional right stem. There's something a little more intriguing that I think you could pull out of this. That is, I think you can also look at some of the creative that's sort of playing off of like this idea that I think there's that creativity comes from unexpected places, like, or lives in, in the shadows, I don't know, but something that can ground this idea to maybe be just a bit more, not concise, but just clear direction for the campaigns. Because it's a lot to try to accomplish, to say it's left brain and then your stem is right brain, and you know what I mean? And it's, just work on that. And then the only thing I'll add as I pass this, I love this back of your notebook idea. I'm just not quite sure about the Pringles and Nutella as the executions. Can you talk about what those were meant to depict?
Like, people doodling in the back of their notebook, it can be big. Like, what you're doing in the back matters because it has a creative value.
And also, it should have been a little bit messier, the left side, because what I wanted to convey was that creativity is very messy, and a lot of people have that, but what we do here is that we learn to tame it or unleash it, but to give it a purpose in a way. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that starts small, and also that, as creatives, we tend to also be very, like, once we start criticizing an idea, it dies there. So this is, and also a lot of people who are in other fields think like, but I can't make a living out of my creativity. So that's also another thing that um, we were trying to aim for to address. Yeah.
Yep. For me, it's something that, the strategy was, well buttoned up, very nice, in terms of describing the audience, the insights, everything. I think that you did a great job at, clearly explaining to us like what's the difference in terms of like the e-learning, why it makes sense, etc. Right? The thing is that when it comes to then we start with the creative, and this is absolutely like in another world from the e-learning. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about a sketch, you're talking about like a notebook. You know what I mean? It's so far off the e-learning that it's it, it feels that it's coming out of left field from the strategy that was so clear. You know what I mean? And then as you move on, can you I think that this is a nice execution, but again, it doesn't really feel like the e-learning is anywhere. You know what I mean? This can be cool as like part of again Miami ad school advertising as the school advertising, but not the e-learning. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel connected at all with the e-learning. But I really do like the website that you guys did. Then, can you go to the next one? Then this is something that I don't think is visible. I don't see an university having, using their own real estate to promote another school. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't see how feasible is this, or in terms of the e-learning, how that's come across. But what I do really love is the way that you guys put it together in a website, even though it's not a concept, it's a way to see, oh, like this is in a way how it would look like the tone you're using, the brand tone, not only the tone but the look and feel is very well done. The language that they're using, like the freemium thing, is clever. So I think it's really cool, but still, it's missing from a creative standpoint a concept in your presentation that hones in the e-learning field. What I like the most in terms of the creativity is the last portion, the website. I think it's pretty cool, but still, that's not a concept. You know what I mean? It's a nice execution. It's really well put together, but I'm missing a concept that brings to life the e-learning kind of deal. Well, that was it. Thank you.
With this one, sorry, this one to me sparked an idea of like, there's a role for this here, like the fact that you're put like a juxtaposition almost. And that is what make that idea that maybe it's in the most unexpected, that you can be on this path and you're not stuck in the vortex. You can diverge. You can see the little flamingo in your, as you walk to your STEM class. You know what I mean? Like it's almost the unexpectedness of it that would help. To me, that there's an opportunity to maybe play off of that idea that there's like a role for this kind of creativity even here. Whatever here is, if this is the engineering lab, if this is the math, major, whatever your lane was, don't forget about your little creative side. The flamingo could be representing that. Do you know what I mean? That's like an interesting use of that. But he's right. I don't know how you get that executed, but there might be other ways to think about